If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward. Martin Luther King Jr. Good evening, everyone. So, I was actually looking through and actually investigating Jacob's Ladder, because there's a lot about Jacob's Ladder. But then it kind of segued, and then I just kind of found some instances of the lost continent of Mu. Never really, sorry, just trying to get this focus so it's not so blurry. Lost continent of Mu, lost continent of Lemuria, Kumari Kandam, and I'm like, what? And so I just kind of went and investigated a little bit, and the theme lines up to everything else. Is they keep telling you it's not there. We've looked. There's nothing there. Antarctica, there's nothing there. The magnetic North Pole, there's nothing there. You know, sometimes they will tell you there are things there, obviously, and lie about it. Just look at the moon and NASA and all this other crap. But they know we can't go there. So they can lie about it, do whatever they want. They can say whatever they want. We can get to these places. We can find that. We can find evidence for lost continents under the water. And we will actually go ahead and get to that. And so here we go. Now, one of the things that will, so Robert Safir, he did one, but he got this video. It looks like it's some newsreel about someone finding ruins near Japan, and we'll look more into that too. So here it goes.
And a Japanese researcher investigating underwater rock formations claims they are the remnants of an ancient Asian civilization that disappeared under the sea off the coast of Yonaguni Island. It's very fascinating. Let's take a look.
The search for the ruins of a mysterious lost city called Mu, thought to have sunk somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, has captivated the popular imagination of adventurers for years. But many scientists dismiss the hypothetical lost world of Mu as sheer fantasy. But one Japanese marine geologist believes he has found ruins in the waters off southern Japan that may have been the basis of these tales. Undaunted amidst persistent skepticism, Musaki Kimura has worked for decades on proving that a group of extraordinary rock formations off Japan's southernmost island of Yonaguni are actually the foundations of an ancient city that disappeared into the Pacific over 4,000 years ago. In a 1985 underwater dive, he noticed that some of the rocks seemed unnaturally smooth and formed a stone staircase close to the island shores. After many additional dives, Kimura says he has found irregular rock formations over a square kilometer from its shores, and even a road through rubble accumulated at the bottom of the ocean. He believes this is nothing more than evidence of man-made ruins of a submerged city.
In my estimation, the structure like a castle is situated right in the middle of the city, which prevails over 1 square kilometer from there. And though not as big as the castle, a lot of ruins of shrine-like structures have been discovered also.
Kimura says he believes the city had a castle, a shrine, a triumphal arch, statues, and even a colosseum when the city was above water.
Judging by the design and the disposition of the ruins, the city must have looked just like an ancient Roman city. I can envision that a triumphal arch-like statue stood on the left side of the Colosseum, and a shrine over the hill.
Kimura believes the city sunk in an earthquake, but this theory has received harsh criticism from many scientists who say the ruins can be accounted for by natural phenomena, such as tidal and volcanic activity. They also say few artifacts, such as clay pots or weapons, have been found at the site. But this is not stopping Kimura from looking for more evidence, confirming his belief in the ancient submerged civilization.
So, and that was in 1985. what I always find funny is that the commentators, the newscasters, whatever, they isn't that funny? Newscast. It's like a spell, huh? They say, oh, scientists are quick to debunk the hypothesis, saying that's just fantasy. Scientists, really? Real scientists don't say that shit. They go, what? Really? Let's go take a look. Let's find some evidence. Let's look into this rock that you found. Does it make sense? Humans are curious. Scientists should be the most curious people in the world because they want to find out more about the universe. That's how you grow up. That's even in the system, the indoctrinated system in public school systems. That's what science is. And we're naturally curious. We naturally want to know more about the world. And yet the scientists that they say, whatever. I just like it here where I'm at. I don't want to investigate, that there could be something immensely cool. We can find, the sciences of thousands of years ago. We could learn something. No. Fantasy. That's it. Fantasy. Now, whenever you keep looking, and even NASA, space.com, like this is why it's pertinent, and I'll read it to you. Okay, when we look at lost continent of Mu, even in Wikipedia, Mu is the name of a suggested lost continent whose concept and name were proposed by 19th century traveler and writer Augustus Le Plongeon. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Claimed that several ancient civilizations, such as those of Egypt and Mesoamerica, were created by refugees of Mu, which he stated was located in the Atlantic Ocean. Now, also, there's another person who's saying actually it's probably in the Pacific Ocean. But you know what? There could probably be multiple continents that were sunk. Okay, and sorry, I should just keep reading because it was said this concept was popularized and expanded by James Churchward, who asserted that Mu was once located in the Pacific. The existence of Mu was already being disputed in the Plongeon's time. Currently, scientists dismiss the concept of Mu. Again, scientists just dismiss the concept. And other alleged lost continents, such as Lemuria, as physically impossible, arguing that a continent can neither sink nor be destroyed in the short period of time required by this presence. Mu's existence is considered to have no factual basis. And let's see, look at 5 and 6. That's by 1959 by Louis A. Brennan, and 2006 by Michael Witzel. Archaeological Fantasies. Yet, so something can be created within the short span of a few years, an entire island. You can find more evidence of this just by doing searches. Scientists visited a rare new island they watched grow out of the waves by Megan Bartels a month ago. Science and Astronomy. And as a scientist has visited a 4-year-old island that satellites watch rise out of the waters. That's all I need to say. Boom. That's it. Really? You're going to dismiss it because in a short amount of time, a continent can neither sink nor be restored in a short period of time. 4 years was enough to build up a new island. It's easier to destroy something to create something. Now, if you keep looking, you're going to see just underwater ruins Japan. Because when you look into lost continent of Lemuria, let's go there. It's a hypothetical lost island located either in the Pacific, Indian, or the Pacific Ocean, as postulated by a now discredited 19th century scientific theory. So it's a now discredited scientific theory with what? With a current scientific theory. The current scientific theory is what? Plate tectonics? Look, well, I'll keep reading. So, the idea was then adopted adopted by the cultists of the time and consequently has been incorporated into pop culture. Some Tamil writers have associated with Kumari Kandam, a mythical lost continent with an ancient Tamil civilization located south of present-day India in the Indian Ocean. And look at this. There's underwater. Here's. Is that the Japan one? No, that's China. Underwater ruins in the Tamil. So look, in 2016, millennium-old sunken town found off of Tamil Nadu. You can't make this shit up. It's just hilarious. Because when the shoreline receded during the 2004 tsunami, tourists saw a long row of granite boulders emerge from the sea. And you can see pictures and videos of it even. People will still go to the Wikipedia and look at the old, outdated stuff. It's like, hey, they won't show anything about there actually being something ruins found. Nope, no one wants to update that. Now here I'll just keep reading. Evolution of the idea. Originally, Meru was hypothesized as a land bridge, now sunken, which would account for certain discontinuities in biogeography. The idea has been rendered obsolete by modern theories of plate tectonics, and then we'll go to plate tectonics. And plate tectonics has to do with it's gonna have to do with gravity as well, and we're gonna revisit that. Scientific theory describing a large-scale motion of 7 large plates and the movements of larger number of plates of the Earth's lithosphere. And then look, how do they know? What experiments can we have to actually see the inner core, the outer core, the mantle, and the different spheres within it? Is there any experiments? No. They go, oh, we've got special instruments. Oh, we got math. Look, driving forces are related to gravity. And then gravity, we know, is presupposed assumptions. And if you believe in the presupposed assumptions, then of course it's it adds up, right? But it's not. So so forces related to gravity are usually invoked as secondary phenomena within the framework of a more general driving mechanism, such as various forms of mantle dynamics described above. And then if you want to go into it, look, Einstein field equations, that's the current model that's being used for gravity. And it's based off of the curvature of space-time. And what was used in the field equation is capital G, which is Newton's gravitational constant. Newton's gravitational constant uses is basically force equals gravity, the universal constant of gravity, mass 1 times mass 2 over radius squared. And then but it's trying to tell you that, look, it's different from the local gravitational field of Earth, which is the small g, because they're saying it's small. But then they're gonna, in order to get that, you're gonna have to find the mass of the Earth, and to get the mass of the Earth, you have to find the radius of the Earth, and to get the radius of the Earth, you have to presuppose that the Earth is round, because what Eratosthenes found that, look, he measured distances from one area, which is like high noon on the summer solstice of the equator. There's no shadow, so he went and somehow either talked with someone else or went somewhere else in another year where it's same time, summer solstice, high noon, but in different location, measured the shadow length and then the angle, and then he presupposed that the Earth was round, so he divided it by 360 degrees. So they use that in order to formulate the mass of the Earth. Because we know the radius of the Earth, you don't know the radius of the Earth. They can use the law of universal gravitation to calculate the mass of the Earth. So they get the mass of the Earth by presupposing they know what the radius of the Earth is, and to presuppose they know the radius of the Earth. It's a sphere, so 360 degrees is a sphere, and we'll just put that in because we have no direct evidence that Earth is a sphere way back then. But, we'll go and put in our calculations. So The mass of the Earth, they don't know. The mass of the radius of the Earth, they don't know. And stadia, and all of it was based off of measurement of stadia. And what is a stadia? It's stadia comes from the plural of the Greek stadion, the word for a distance of 185 to 182 meters, or 607 to 630 feet. Now times that by 5,000, you get this mass differential. And they use this equation for a long, long time. And they're saying, hey, we're getting the gravitational constant based off of where was it? I saw it before. Can't see it here. Is it here? No. I think it was gravitational constant here. Using dimensions. Oh, okay, from here, right? So this is it. The gravitational constant is a physical constant that is difficult to measure with high accuracy because the gravitational force is extremely weak as compared to other fundamental forces. And then you see the capital G is gotten from here, which is let's see. Based off of Einstein's constant. Anyways, it's basically a big circle jerk. If you guys don't realize it, they keep referencing someone else's constant and measurements, and those measurements are all presupposed. That hey, instead of being flat, let's just say it's a sphere, and then we'll add that into our equations, and there we go. And seriously, it is a circle jerk. All right, let's see. So, if you keep looking, there's just underwater ruins everywhere. Enigmatic carvings on underwater ruins in China mystify investigators by my admin, Epoch Times. An underwater investigation in Fujian Lake, Yunnan Province, China, started on June 13, 2006. Archaeologists discovered the remains of a group of huge ancient buildings at the bottom of the lake. The discovery proved that the magnificent architecture was built by civilized human beings, but cast doubt on experts' previous suppositions. So, the previous suppositions is basically based on his ancient accounts that these civilizations and these continents existed. And there's a lot of evidence for it already, but you know what? Let's just, this stuff wasn't supposed to be there, and that because the stuff is there, you know, everyone who thought they were there because of lost continents and all that fantasy, you know, it's not because of that. There's another reason for it, and they're gonna figure out what that reason is, or they won't. They'll just destroy the underwater ruins. They're going, what underwater ruins? We never found any underwater ruins. What are you talking about? They do whatever they can to make sure that if you're able to go someplace that they don't want you to go, they say it doesn't exist. Because they realize, hey, the more that we say that it's off limits, the more people want to go. It's, you know, reverse psychology. Hey, there's nothing there. And it's like, there's nothing there. They're not even guarding it. So obviously they're probably right. But then you go say, hey, look, there's Antarctica is seriously guarded. You know, let's go there. You know, let's fight them. Let's see what's actually there. And it's probably not guarded at all. It's like, yeah, people go there. You're gonna probably freeze to death. Oh, what was funny? One thing that I saw was it Prince Edward. I think Prince Edward went to the South Pole, and I think it's funny. They're like skiing out in like Antarctica, and it's like they're taking a picture. Dang it, where is it? I wish I could find it. But they take a picture, and they don't have like, unlike this one, they don't have like masks or hats or anything. You know, it's just like they're short sleeve or whatever. I wish I could find that photo. Maybe it's here. Gosh, that's not it. Maybe it's somewhere else. Prince Harry. Oh, it was Prince Harry. Let's see. Do they have any more pictures? Oh, that's not it. Where'd it go? Oh yeah, here it is. You have on TMZ. Look, it's so warm in Antarctica. You know, it's a breeze going to South Pole. It's nothing. Oh, I guess they're just training their asses off for the South Pole. Okay, so they're just training. You know, because you know you wouldn't want to train with full gear on, and you want to train in what, someplace like half as warm. So, all right. What else is there? So new islands. There's new islands being discovered that, and that keeps coming up. And let's see. Do they have stuff? It's like islands sinking before they sink, huh? Looks like there's islands that are sinking as well through global warming or climate change, whatever they say. And look, if they're sinking, and they're sinking within a few decades, right? They're saying that these islands are going to sink. You know, you need to see it before they sink. But then they go, you know what? A whole continent can't sink in such a short amount of time as like they don't even specify how many years. Agreeing that a continent can neither sink nor be stored in a short period of time. They don't even say like how quick. So they keep being proved wrong. They say, hey, there's nothing there. You know, flood never happened. There's no such thing as ancient civilizations. Islands can't sink. Or islands can't be created in a short amount of time either. All this other stuff. Yet what happens is that we keep finding more and more evidence of cities and sunken ruins. I wish I could actually find actual videos. A lot of this looks pretty fake. That's definitely fake. And sometimes I'm wondering if they're just faking some of this stuff. Underwater ruins discovered in Bahamas. 10 amazing underwater ruins. That's in 2013. Let's see.
In New York City, that we found out what this was.
Hey guys, this is Thornton from Artist Till Death.
Some of this kills me because they just they don't show any evidence. It's like, thanks for the imagery. We just want to see the actual underwater ruins, photos, or videos. It's so hard to find any of that stuff. Anyways, they are saying stuff like that. And there's a lot of confusion because a lot of people are just looking into it, and they're thinking, so is what's the difference between the continent of Mu and continent of Lemuria? What's the difference between continent of Lemuria and continent of Kumari Kandam? You know, and all of it's always a mythical continent, right? Yeah, they tell you there's nothing there, and then if you go looking, you're gonna discover something. And this is why it's so important to be persistent. And the world is changed and made better by those who deem that nothing is impossible. Like it may seem impossible, but they keep trying anyway. Because if you don't try, then it is impossible. Do you understand that? If you attempt it absolutely 0 times, it's impossible because no one is going to even attempt it. If you have one person do it, there's a very, 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 very small chance of, hey, that person may actually accomplish this. You have more people, hundreds, thousands, millions. Hey, more odds that, more chances that they're able to make it possible and not be impossible. It's just like the person going, hey, no way we could fly up in the air. That's impossible. And so they go off doing their thing. Yeah. Guess what? That person is never going to invent flying machines, drones, anything like that. You know what? The ones who said, you know what? I think we can fly. We can create things that can fly. We could ride them. Everybody else is going, good luck. It's impossible. You're a dumbass. And then, of course, everyone's proved wrong. Where are they? You don't hear from them. But we know who the ones who invented the Wright brothers, you know, flight and all this stuff. We remember them, right? And actually, there's another conspiracy theory that the Wright brothers weren't the ones who actually started flight. It was some other people. And that could be more of a Mandela effect. Who knows? But yeah, so it's just all of that stuff is like people who climbed up a certain mountain. It's like, oh, no one's climbed up that mountain and survived. It's impossible. It's like, who climbed up that mountain and didn't come back? No one, because there's people said it was impossible, so no one went. Like, really? And then yeah. So it's just like, if you don't try at all, you don't even attempt it, you have a 0% chance of accomplishing it. You try it once, it's not going to be 0%. It's going to be slightly higher. Who knows? It might seem impossible at the time, but you know what? The ones who keep going after failure, they're the ones who will succeed because they realize, okay, I tried it this way and it failed. I tried it this way and it failed. I tried it this way and it failed. I'll figure it out. And I tried this one, I was closer. How about I do it this way? Bless, I'll tweak this and, you know, get it that way. You know, those persons will succeed. That's why you have video games. You think you'd buy a video game and you can't pass a certain stage. You're like, I'm not going to play this anymore. No, you keep going. And you figure it out. And you pass it and you're like, that's all I needed to do. Pretty easy. You know, if I would have said it's just impossible because I tried 5 times and I lost 5 times. That's it. It's impossible. But so what I like about a lot of these people, they don't really, it's not like belief, but you know, it is in a way. It's kind of like a faith of their research, right? The people who find all these underwater ruins, they go, hey, there's an account for this. There's historical documents here. There's people saying that there's underwater ruins somewhere here, underwater ruins somewhere here. You know, let's go looking for it. You know, maybe we'll find something. Most likely we won't, but we won't find it if we don't look. That's for sure. So, and you know what? People found it. People found stuff. And here's the undersea ancient temple found in Mahalapuram. Let's see. We don't need that music. I mean, they found stuff. You know, and sometimes I wonder, the Navy, not just the U.S. Navy, just almost all naval ships that get really old, they'll put them down in a body of water, you know, so certain animals, you know, it could be like a man-made reef. Well, I sometimes wonder if they sink them in certain ruins and areas like that. So no, maybe not, because I think when people say, okay, we sunk this ship and so You know, most people are going to go and explore and scuba dive those ships. So probably, never mind. I was just thinking. If they would go ahead and just dump these ships on these ruins, so people ignore the ruins and look at the ship or something like that. But I see the thing is they keep saying that, you know, all this stuff, all these accounts are myths. Scientists easily or quickly debunk, saying it's fantasy. You know, why are they so quick? It's like they know something's there, so they just need to easily dismiss it, and otherwise people will keep looking for it. And that's the thing. That's why I have a very high likelihood that there is something at the magnetic North Pole, because they say that it keeps shifting, it keeps moving. You know, oh, a pole shift is going to happen. It's going to destroy the world. Oh, wait, it's not going to destroy the world at all. It's going to be very minor and all this other stuff. And it keeps moving. It's moving to Siberia. It's moving closer to Russia. Russia. And all this other stuff. They don't show any evidence. They don't show any proof. They just show diagrams. And there's a little bit of math, whatever. It's basically you're listening to authority, figures of authority. You know, are you going to put your trust into an authority figure when you have no idea whether they're telling the truth or not, and they've always been known to lie? So why would you keep trusting an authority, a form of authority? And they have no authority. They have no authority over you. You give them their authority over you. Perhaps knowing that there's generic. There's nothing the state can do to protect them from nature. So, you know, time is going to reveal a lot more stuff. I mean, a lot of the stuff has been revealed years and years ago. It's just hard to get people to see them. I mean, even me. It took me now to see these videos, and you know, I've seen underwater ruins being discovered and stuff, but as like a part of an entire continent, now that is major. I mean, this is different than like a lost underwater city or lost ruin, you know. This is like an entire continent. But does it make sense in some ways, right? Like if we look at the map of the world, you know, there's ideas that between in Atlantic there was a big continent, could have been Atlantis. Maybe even in the Indian Ocean, or maybe like here, in the Indian Ocean, that there was another small continent and got sunk. Pacific Ocean continent that got sunk. Because we see just these huge, vast expanses of ocean where it's kind of a rarity. And of course, aside from those, like going to Hawaii and the Atoll Islands and the Gilbert Islands and Samoa and all this stuff, yeah, you might dive around there, but just middle of the Pacific Ocean, you know? Is anyone going to find anything there? Has anyone looked? Who has the means to look? I mean, that stuff gets expensive. And you know, we do know that there is a land bridge up here, the Bering Land Bridge, and I mean, there is a land bridge, so saying that there was a continent that could have been a land bridge as well, and you're saying what? No, that's impossible. There's no such thing as land bridges. Oh wait, there is a land bridge. There's no such thing as a continental land bridge. These scientists won't look into stuff. What scientists don't look into shit? Really? How do you call yourself a scientist when they go, oh, you're talking about that thing? It's fantasy. Let me go back to writing my dissertation on whatever. Oh, really? That's like once in a lifetime find. I mean, all through it, you know, thousands of years, we've only found a handful of accounts, and they've turned out to be valid. But let's not work on that, because that would just mean we've been lied to about everything. That would just mean my work is pretty much worthless. It would mean that my reaction to early dismissals should get me thrown out of the. It should get you thrown out of the scientific community. Scientific community is not what it's supposed to be. Anyways, this is it. One thing to also look at is Jay Churchward, which is he's the grandson, I think, of James Churchward, and he started getting into it because a lot of people kept asking him about it. And I don't know whether to trust him yet or not, or the works of his grandfather. It's still worth looking into whether I trust it or not. I'd have to find other works, the more you go into ancient accounts, you'll find more evidence. Alex, the land bridge was made of ice age, yeah. And then Robert Seffer, he has this little introduction. What I like about the introduction that he has is it's kind of gives a little bit of information about differences in genetics and lineages and stuff like that. I'll play it. It's good. I like it.
The tongkori is a plucked string instrument played by the Ainu people of northern Japan, and it generally has 5 strings, which are not stopped or fretted, but simply played open. The instrument is typically constructed of a single piece of wood from the evergreen tree, approximately a meter long. Its shape is traditionally said to resemble a woman's body, and a pebble is placed within the body cavity of the instrument, granting it a soul. By the 1970s, the instrument was practically extinct, but is experiencing a revival along with the increased interest in Ainu heritage. The Ainu people are the indigenous inhabitants of Hokkaido. They're also present on Sakhalin, the island off the east coast of Russia, as well as northern Honshu, Japan's biggest island. The modern Ainu population is estimated to have dwindled down to around 24,000 people, and until the 20th century, there were at least 19 dialects of the Ainu languages. Only the Hokkaido variant survives, and the Endangered Languages Project puts the current number of native speakers at just 10, though attempts are being made to revive it. Modern Ainu generally have lighter skin complexion, more body hair, are slightly taller, and have higher bridged noses than most Japanese. The ancient Ainu ate raw salmon that was thinly sliced and used wasabi to preserve it. So it may be that the Ainu people showed the Japanese sashimi, not to mention the harpoons the Japanese still use. Anthropologist C. Loring Brace of the University of Michigan has studied the skeletons of about 1,100 Japanese, Ainu, and other Asian ethnic groups, and has concluded that the revered samurai of Japan are of the Ainu. According to Dr. Brace, and I quote, "This explains why the facial features of the Japanese ruling class are so often unlike those of typical modern Japanese. The Ainu-related samurai achieved such power and prestige in medieval Japan that they intermarried with royalty and nobility, passing on Jomon Ainu blood in the upper class."
And notice like the swastikas as well. Pretty interesting. The Ainu as being the samurai class.
Now, anthropologist Marvin Harris believed the Japanese custom of whiteface was an emulation of these early noblemen. That said, the oldest known ceramic pots discovered in Japan are not made by the Ainu, but by the Jomon people. So who were they?
Anthropologists called them Asiatic Caucasoids because they had facial features and body hair that seemed more European than Asian. In fact, the Ainu are thought to be a remnant of a very ancient population that was once widespread in the Old World.
This is 28,000 years from China.
What we know of these early Asians is based on just a few skulls.
It's one of the earliest anatomically modern Homo sapiens in Asia.
One of them is a 28,000-year-old specimen from China, which looks very much like the 9,000-year-old Spirit caveman.
And there are some marked similarities in the facial architecture.
Tremendous similarity in the shapes of the eye orbits in the sense that they're both somewhat rectangular, similar interorbital distance, overall appearance of the orbits, the shape of the nose. But many of the features, including the very heavy mandible and the prominent symphysis here, those features are very much the same.
Hiroshi Oshima, the former Japanese ambassador to Germany during World War II, believed that the noble castes in Japan, the daimyo and the samurai, were descended from gods of celestial origin, which was similar to the Nazis' own belief that the Nordic race did not evolve, but came directly down from heaven to settle on the Atlantic continent. A swastika crossed by two arrows, within a shield and surmounted by a royal crown on an orange background, was used as the coat of arms of the samurai Hasekuru Tsunaga in the early 17th century. The swastika symbol is seen frequently in Japan. Its ancient ties to Buddhism's and pre-Buddhist philosophies' civilizing spread throughout 3/4 of Asia is well documented. The symbol is depicted facing both directions and most common in a spiritual context, such as on Shinto and on other temples. While the term Buddhism applies to a religious philosophy founded by Gautama Buddha, the core goals, such as enlightenment achieved through various meditation and yogic practices, or a self-realization and the attempt to conquer the birth and death cycle, known as reincarnation and karma, this existed before Gautama's lifetime, 2,500 years ago, then known as the Aryan path. This influence can still be seen in places like Thailand, the land of smiles, which managed to escape colonialism and the eradication of its history, which often comes with colonialism. And that's why all the depictions of Buddha still have blue eyes, in addition to the usual swastika symbols. So where then were the ancestors of the modern Japanese, Thai, Chinese, and other populations who now reside where ancient Aryans or Caucasoids once inhabited? During the last ice age, global sea levels were much lower as hundreds of feet of water was trapped in the form of frozen glaciers, so many islands, such as those in the Pacific, were exposed and had much larger land masses, which were presumably populated.
And a Japanese
We've already seen this part. Yeah, let's just kind of skip over there.
Site of another earlier Garden of Eden and the home of millions of inhabitants that flourished 50,000 years ago, now lost and submerged under the melted glaciers of the Pleistocene, with the survivors competing for new land all into the Holocene. My name is Robert Sepper. I'm an author and
I mean, it's pretty cool stuff. Like one of the things that I do also look at is I don't agree with all of it, but she puts in some good work. Rosette Delacroix. And am I looking at Jacob's Ladder or am I looking at Continent Moo? I think I was looking at Jacob's Ladder. And then I looked in, it's like, what? Moo? Lemuria? What the hell? And we won't watch the video. I would go ahead and recommend watching her videos. She does her own little blogs as well. And let's see if I can find Lemuria. No. How about Moo? Oh, what's interesting? Huh. I just didn't realize it. Lemuria has the word moo in it. Maybe it's just moo is just a shortened term of Lemuria. You know, moo. Interesting. She does a lot of things with playing on words, and she does some things was where, you know, Eden is at the North Pole and things like that. So good reference for me. Like, I want as much information as I can. Once I have all the information, you know, I can make my assumptions and look elsewhere for more stuff. So it's pretty interesting. She's someone I am looking at more often. But yeah, that's it. I don't know what else to say. It's they keep telling us there's nothing out there, yet we keep finding more stuff that's out there. Especially the places that we can go. And I don't think we can get to the moon or anywhere else. But they've said they've been there. And obviously no one else has gone out there. Remember when they used to have this thing that they're going to pick people to go to Mars? They're going to have a reality contest, who's going to win. And then they're going to film the training session and all that stuff. And then they're going to send someone out to Mars. Yeah, they haven't done that yet, have they? That was like, was that like even a decade ago? That was a long time ago. People, except for the current astronauts, have been to the space. And of course, it'll cost millions of minutes. And millions of dollars, millions of money. Sorry. To get people in out there. Warsami. Who's Warsami? Well, we'll see. I will go ahead and hide myself. Hi there, Warsami. How's it going? I can't hear you. You might have to fix up your audio. I don't see. I don't hear anything. Well, let's see. While that's happening, let's I need to get my image. Trying to get a gray background. Is that what I need?
Hello.
Yep. Hi.
I am Warsame from Somalia.
Okay. Hi. How's it going?
All right. Except some explosions.
I don't know what that means.
Everything is going all right.
Okay.
But here in Somalia, there may be some small problems.
Okay.
So I am testing how to use a Zoom, and I see your video in the YouTube.
Yep.
So I have no idea about mostly the topic that you are talking about, but I think it is related a continent which is lost.
Yes.
So is that something which actually exists, a continent which is lost?
Well, we won't find out until we look, and everyone else that's in government or military or science community, they won't look because they think it's a fantasy. So if they don't look, they're obviously never going to find anything, right? So it takes people who keep looking themselves, and then they'll find something. So until we get to the point where we get people to go looking, we ain't gonna find nothing.
Testing.
Hi, Kevin. That was interesting. Where's Sami? How's it going, Kevin? Haven't heard from you in a while.
Been doing shit.
Okay.
Hey, did you ever take me up on my advice and buy a pallet of solar panels? Did you ever take me up on my advice and buy a pallet of solar panels?
Solar panels? No, I looked into it though. The thing is,
what?
Solar panels keep because I was gonna build the solar panels myself, but
take a look on my screen real quick.
Yep.
What can you see?
I see just a black.
Oh, I'm on the wrong fucking one. Ah, there we go. There you go.
Nice.
Just let you know I wasn't bullshitting. Pallet of solar panels.
Did you buy the entire thing, or did you just buy the individual solar cells?
That's 9 of them right there. I've got the charge controller. I've got the combiner box, the electrical panel. I've got the inverter. I've got a bunch of my equipment.
What's the?
Just let you know I wasn't bullshitting you.
No, I mean I looked into it too. I was debating about it, but right now we've got no sun.
Well, there's lots of other ways to go about it.
Yeah, but
okay.
Part of it's just finding the like there's different efficiency of solar cells, right?
No, not really. The solar cells themselves the individual little squares are a solar cell. The modules as a whole chunk are a solar panel.
Yeah.
The best ones you can possibly find are at Sun World, and they're 22% efficient, roughly 21%, somewhere around that. These ones are made in Germany, and they're 17 or 18% efficient.
Okay.
That's about as high as they're going to go. They only function on the red part of the spectrum.
Yeah. So yeah, I wasn't gonna buy solar panels. I was gonna buy the solar cells and build the panels myself.
Oh, that's way more expensive. If I were you, I mean, since the location where you live, what kind of heating do you got?
Natural gas, I think. Yeah.
Natural gas.
I mean, we're right next to the dang we're like 10 miles or so away from the what's that fracking area, the big
the Dakota fracking area.
Yeah.
I don't know the name of it, but I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. There's shit tons of fracking sites. Easiest thing, I mean, you can get your hands on if you want to invest into stuff like that is I want a completely off-grid setup, so I need an input power supply. So that's what solar panels are for. I
Yeah.
need something to start the wheel going, because otherwise I don't got power to run my pumps to run the motor off the wood stove.
Mm.
Yeah, so it kind of takes power to make more power, because I mean, trees or solar panels, they're both solar.
Yeah. Do you have a battery to store store any of the leftover?
I'm holding off on the batteries for right now. I
Okay.
just getting my equipment together, because that was like freaking $7,000 for all that stuff.
Wow. Yeah, the solar panels.
Actually, the solar panels weren't that bad. I mean, that's almost 3 kilowatts worth of output right there. It's 9 panels.
Yeah.
And the charge controller I have can handle up to 6 kilowatts of throughput. And then the Magnum inverter, I chose that one specifically because it's a United States made inverter.
Mhm.
The components inside of it are a lot of them are from Taiwan, so that's that's a different thing entirely. But at least it was made here. But the nice thing, it's got a feature on it where it's got a bi-directional bridge in it. So like grid tie, and I can take a grid tie inverter, and it doesn't matter where the fuck it comes from. I can scavenge it off of people that throw their shit away because they don't know what to do with it, and I can just hook them all up to a little DC generator, like from Missouri Wind and Solar. They make nice little permanent magnet alternators for cheap.
Yeah.
And I can just wire one right up to that, and then basically I can supplement up to 7.2 kilowatts worth of power on my AC side without touching my batteries. But the batteries, I want to go for the lithium iron phosphate ones, just because higher efficiency, more cycles, but they're more costly.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a bit of a pain in the ass to get your hands on. But
Yeah, the more efficient, the more upfront costs. But I think it's worth it overall. But the thing is, the trade-off is they might come up with more efficient solar panels and things
really.
like that in the future. Who knows?
Solar panels, the only way that's going to get more efficient. I mean, I already told you the specific technology they're using for solar panels for these type, they function on the red spectrum.
Yep.
All right, that's why they get hot in the sunlight. They only top out at 22%.
Yep.
The only way you can make them better is you can look at the ones for the rover on Mars. Those things are like 44% efficient. They're only that efficient because they're multi-layered. They have a 20 or like an 18% layer for the red light, one for the blue or the yellow or some shit like that, but they're roughly around 40-something% efficient.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's why they're efficient, but they're costly as hell to make.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just like what was it? Snork said a long time ago that the quickest, easiest way they could boost up the efficiency of the solar panels is by putting seatback modules on them, or not seatback, but thermoelectric generator modules, like thin plate ones that are insulated, just so that when the light hits them, they produce power. But since they get hot, they'll produce a little power with the heat flowing through those little thermoelectric generators. That way, probably boost the efficiency up another 3-4%. You know, but 3/4 of the energy that hits them turns into heat. So, yeah. 3,000, what was it, 1,000 watts per square meter, that's 9 square foot, so 3,400 BTUs potentially.
All right.
And
so
that's why I was
we'll probably do a topic on solar energy some other day. Any thoughts on the current on topic?
I only caught the last bit of it.
Okay.
Hey, I was just going around YouTube.
Yeah. Well, it's good to hear from you again. I'm gonna pretty much end it so we don't segue too much off topic of this, but I'll probably host a off topic anything goes. If not tomorrow, Saturday night.
I probably won't. I just kind of caught this.
Oh, okay. No problem. All right.
Figure I'd say hi.
Yeah, that's good. It's nice to see you. Have you been to other channels lately? Are you still going around with like the politics stuff, or are you going different route these days?
I had a little fun past couple of months trolling someone.
Oh, well, that's not surprising,
more like playful
Kevin.
fun trolling.
Yeah. Who was it?
The political crap's always a wash.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all fucking liars. Well, not just the politicians, but I mean, everybody's got a fucking axe to grind and an agenda. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't argue with you there. All right. Nice hearing from you. Try to stop by on a off topic or talk about the on topic topics. And everyone else, thank you for watching, and see you guys later. See you guys.